That's what he's saying there. I haven't used it before, so he can show me something. Never pre-tin anything.
I can have to tin this.
I like to provide enough flux so that the tip of that chisel will have enough room to fit in there. So maybe one brush width on one side and another brush and a quarter on the other. You can see that there's some dross on the tip and the brown coloring. If the iron's up to temperature, I'll dip it in here, and it takes it all right off, nice and shiny and clean.
So what's in there?
That's 1/3 ruby fluid and 2/3 water. So every time before I solder a joint and immediately after I'm finished soldering a joint, I'll take the dross off by dipping it in that dip jar.
What is that there that you just put on that tip?
This is a Laco flux. Got actually has lead in it. That's after applying a layer of this on the back side. It's similar to pre-tinning your metal.
And I'm just walking that back and forth, one end of the iron to the other.
When you dip your iron, is that just dipping it into flux?
That's 1/3 ruby fluid and 2/3 water. And what that does is, if we look at the bottom side, there's not really much dross on this. You can see a few brown specks right there on the tip. Those are dirt and imperfections that are coming out of the solder joint, and that does not allow the solder to conduct the heat as effectively to the copper. So what I want to do is clean that tip off, and you just dip it really quickly, and you can see that that comes off really nice and clean.
It's called ruby?
Ruby fluid.
Ruby fluid.
That's the stuff right here.
Oh, okay.
And you can get that online at slateroofwarehouse.com. Now, if you look at the bottom of this jar, there's quite a bit of sediment, and that's just from 2 days. So when this iron is ready to use, I want to see just a little curl of smoke come off of it, and then I know that it's at its maximum operating temperature. It's an American Beauty 550 watt iron. It's electronically controlled. It's designed for shop soldering at 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So if ambient temperatures drop down below 70 degrees, we revert back to either an acetylene torch, like Liam's using, or a propane fire torch. Because these are just not designed for outdoor work. We've also had to build hoods for these in really windy conditions. When I do a vertical joint like this, it's lap seam, I want to start at the top of the joint with my iron, leaving the horizontal joint undone, so that when I get down to the bottom of the joint, I'm going to make one pass from the top to the bottom, and I'm usually left with some excess solder here at the bottom as it runs down a little bit, and I'll draw that back across the joint so that I don't end up with a big pile here. And I try and keep my flux relatively neat, because where you don't flux the copper and I put some solder on it, it doesn't stick. But if I put it anywhere in here, it's going to immediately bond, and you will not be able to get that off of there. So the neater you keep your flux, typically the neater your joint's going to be. I'm actually going to pre-tin this a little bit vertically, try and get some solder stuck to both surfaces, because I wasn't able to get that joint as flat as I usually like it. I would really want to try and beat that seam flat, because this is completely loose. I can't get it to flat. So what I need to do is try and get some type of copper or some type of solder to stick to that lower side of the joint. Now that I've heated up the copper a little bit, I'm going to put down the iron and beat that thing flat. Sometimes face a little bit of iron on that, so I'm going to reflux that. You can see from the top you've got a slightly concave joint now. It should allow the iron to bridge over the top of that.
Oh yeah, that one, yeah. Well, there's just him and I, but I mean, we use the conversation. Yeah, we had to have the stuff.
And I know I'm soldering over one of the blind clips here. I can see a little bit more ridging because the mass of the metal of the clip is drawing the heat away. So I'm going to make my puddle a little bit bigger and slow down. Now we're off the clip, and that solder is going to flatten back out again because we have more heat. It's not being drawn away by the mass of the clip.
The clip is the little piece of metal here that was underneath there that holds the copper to the deck, the substrate.
It's installed blind in this joint. There's another one right here. You can actually see the imprint of it. There's where it starts and there's where it ends. that extra thickness of copper will suck the heat out of the iron. See a little bit of that dross coming out of the joint. That's dirt, imperfections, impurities. I'm speaking about that blackish brown gunk that comes out of the joint. There's probably some on the back of my tip here that I'm going to want to clean off. I'm going to do that right now quickly so that I don't lose too much heat out of the iron. Dip it in there, and that tip comes out nice and clean. Get it back onto the copper as quickly as possible so I don't lose that heat.
This is a flat log. So, you know, you see a lot on like bay windows.
We do a lot of metal.
And when you solder, you can really, I mean, everybody has their own technique.
You guys just do a lot more solder to it, or do you just?
Well, it's just your technique, really. I mean, usually everybody has their own little style that goes on. Mine's slightly different from people's. So the most important thing is that you're sucking solder into the joint.
Right.